Hi there and welcome back. In this video, I'll be giving you a brief introduction to readings coming up for this Saturday. The first is the Corrido Tradition. Now, I think some of you are probably already familiar with it, but let me give you a quick few bullet points. It's a narrative ballad. In other words, it's a song that is sung um, that is telling a story with a fairly discernible plot structure. There's rising tension, there's conflict, there's decreasing tension, there's a resolution of some type rather. And there are a lot of themes that we will recognize in corridos, including, those of heroes and outlaws, disasters happening out in nature, but also prevalence of injustice in Mexican-American border communities. So it is very much a Latinx genre, and it plays upon and invokes uh, notions of the Wild West as a place where you can reinvent yourself, but also a place that can be inherently dangerous. And I went back and forth about whether or not I was going to include it again this year. It got taken out of, I believe, the seventh or eighth edition of the Norton. But I thought I'd bring it back out so I could have you guys give me some feedback on it and comment on it a little bit. Now, I think it's very interesting tradition because I think in general, Americans love outlaws. They love rebels. They love people who do things their own way. They go against the rules, especially when the rules are considered to be oppressive or unjust, um, and to make good. And, we get that all the time with cowboys, Billy the Kid, and other kinds of gangster films that even continues through the day. If you think about, this like the Scarface film or The Godfather and stuff like that. But, interestingly, I think ethnicity and race plays a lot into how well these get received by the public in general. So in the early 1900s is when it really starts to get um, known and even recorded. We don't really have an exact date on it, just like we don't have an exact date for lots of songs that started as folk songs or folk ballads. Um, but it still is a very important musical tradition in Mexico. Some of you may be familiar with a newer incarnation of them known as the Narco Corridor, which is about kind of rebellious gangsters and the narcotics trade and things like that. But not all of them have that element. And they're kind of a controversial new addition to this well established musical and literary genre. Now, interesting thing about that is that some of you may be familiar with the series Breaking Bad, right? Which is about a physics teacher named Walter White who has cancer and he's running out of money. His insurance is bad. And he's worried that his family will be left, poor and without any support if he dies. And once again, this is like, the unjust system that he was fighting against. So what happens? He becomes a big, like, meth chemist guy, and it ends up corrupting him and kind of like bringing him down. But it was an insanely popular show, and so much so that, a very well-known band called Los Tigres del Norte did a Narco Corrido on him, and you can just look it up anywhere online. And it's got Walter White in there. So it's playing upon that genre. The people that were building the show knew that. The interesting thing is, once again, the willingness for large swaths of the American audience, I think, to like enjoy the show was the fact that he looked like them. If it were somebody of a minority group at the center of this series, I think there would have been a very, very different reaction. And we can have this debate like all day long, but I wanted to put it in there. Who's considered a just rebel fighting against an unfair system is inflected by all of these other social and identity characteristics, whether it be race, social class, orientation, ethnicity. So So keep that in mind when you're reading through it. The Ballad of Gregorio Cortes, we have a couple of different versions on in there, and I hope you like them. Now moving right ahead, I'll be giving you an introduction to Sikkala Shah, very important Native American writer and activist. She was born on the Yankton Sioux Reservation, and this is in South Dakota, when the official United States policy was called detribalization. In other words, get Native Americans to fracture or move away from their tribes, especially young children, and mainstream them to becoming more mainstream run-of-the-mill Americans. This is a huge and violent act of, cultural suppression, and it had terrible consequences for thousands and thousands of people. And Zitkala Shah talks about some of them in her writing. And we talk about how important these Native voices are, but not only was she a writer, she was also an orator and a debater. And she, even though she comes up through this detribalizing school system, she uses her education, her skill in reading and writing and speaking in order to become a really important voice for Native American rights in the United States. And not only is it Native American rights that's a really important point of activism for her, also for women's rights too. So in other words, we're seeing her as someone who has a very universalist sense of what human rights are. Regardless of ethnicity or national origin or gender, there are certain things that are inalienable, that all human beings are endowed with. And in 1926, Shah and her husband made a very, very important coalition to build the National Council of American Indians. And this organization helped to advocate not only at local and community levels, but also at state and national levels for Native Americans. I notice here, of course, we do see that different wording. That's what they called it. Sometimes these names change over time, and it's important to keep up, but it's also important to acknowledge whose voice is saying those names and what they feel comfortable with. And that's the end of that. That one's a little fast as far as our intro videos go, but it's two very fascinating readings that I think still have very broad implications for what American literature and that canon looks like, but also for the future of the United States as well. So enjoy the reading, and I'll be talking to you soon.